The Trump administration gives New York City a brutal reality check, as an insubordinate FEMA employee defies Trump's executive orders and sends $80 million to New York City to pay for housing illegal immigrants, which causes Kristi Noem, Trump's Secretary of Homeland Security, to quickly rescind that money, causing New York and the liberal media to have a meltdown. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. But let's start by hearing exactly what Kristi Noem had to say about this.
$80 million was missing. For a time, it wasn't clear where it went or who took it. And then yesterday afternoon, there was a break in the case, a confession from President Donald Trump's Secretary of Homeland Security. Kristi Noem tweeting, quote, "I have clawed back the full payment that FEMA deep state activists unilaterally gave to New York migrant hotels." That's MAGA speak for, I took New York's money.
Let's be clear, this is highway robbery.
The city's comptroller calling out the federal government for snatching millions of dollars right from New York City's bank accounts, FEMA funds to provide services for migrants, including shelters like at the Roosevelt Hotel.
Weren't Democrats just saying that illegal immigrants didn't receive any federal aid or taxpayer money? We find ourselves in the third part of the Democratic cycle, which is it's just a Republican conspiracy theory. And then, okay, it's happening a little bit, but not that much. And then, okay, it's happening a lot, but it's actually a good thing. So yes, the US taxpayer and the taxpayers of all these states have been funding to the tune of over $100 billion free housing, free food, free healthcare, and free education, along with free plane rides for illegal immigrants. And Trump's executive orders were to stop the active facilitation of the United States government to ruin our country from within. So soy boy Chris Hayes over at MSNBC is so Trump deranged that he tries to actually defend this wasteful spending of taxpayer dollars and tries to explain how it's a good thing, and in the process actually reveals just how complicit the Biden administration was in the funding and facilitating of the illegal migrant crisis. Watch.
Early Monday morning, the world's richest man tweeted that the Doge team just discovered that FEMA sent $59 million last week to luxury hotels in New York City to house illegal migrants. Sending this money violated the law and is in gross insubordination to the president's executive order. That money is meant for American disaster relief, instead is being spent on high-end hotels for illegals. You'll not be surprised to hear almost all of that's complete bunk, as city officials were quick to point out. The $59 million Musk is talking about was part of the larger $80 million outlay to the city. Only a fraction of it was used to house migrants, and not a single penny of it came at the expense of any disaster relief. In fact, the payment was issued through a grant from the Shelter and Services Program, a separate part of the government budget, but it's administered by FEMA and initiated by Congress in 2023 to issue grants to cities and organizations providing services to migrants who have been released from federal custody after crossing the border. That is to say, money appropriated by a vote in Congress, both houses, approved by President Joe Biden, right, to house legal migrants during an upswing in immigration in the United States.
This $80 million to New York was part of a larger $660 million budget approved by the Biden administration to house and aid illegal immigrants. FEMA's mission is to provide disaster relief for American citizens. So any money that is appropriated for doing anything outside of the scope of that mission, by definition, takes away funds from disaster relief. So him saying, oh, it wasn't part of disaster relief funds, it was a whole separate fund, isn't making the point that he thinks he is. It highlights what we've all known about FEMA, as well as the wider bureaucracy, that the money being spent is far outside of the scope of those agencies. And a constant theme throughout this is you'll hear him say how the money was appropriated by Congress, so therefore it's definitive and has to be spent. But Donald Trump's whole argument is just because Biden's Congress approved money to accelerate the downfall of America doesn't mean he has to oblige it.